Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call our city council meeting We're going to call our city council meeting for May 12th, 2011 to order. I'll ask that you please rise for the invocation by Minister Anthony Washington Sr. from Beth Shofar Apostolic Ministries, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. Keep your blessings upon our local and our state and even our federal government, and we'll give you all the praise. We thank you for your loving kindness. We thank you for your grace. We thank you even for your patience. Keep us, and we shall be kept. In your Son's name, Yeshua, the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. As you know, Council, once a month we welcome our new employees, and tonight will be no exception. And we have a good group to present for you from our police department. And as I call your name, if you'll please come forward, start down here and work down. New police officers for the city. Matthew Baker. Kassan Bailey. Andre Biscanson. Brett Bull. Chelsea Cisco. Tiffany Kreider. Arthur Haynes Jr. Dawn, forgive me. Dawn Mucklenbrock. How bad did I mess you up, Barbara? Thank you. You're kind. Scott Rodabaugh. Maurice Taylor, Jr. Benjamin Trask. Bradley Woods. From the police department as service technicians, Jamaica Cameron and Patricia Whetstone. From our public works department, William English, equipment operator. I didn't get the word. Okay. Rodney Keith Brown. Rodney's here. Mechanic helper. And in our building department, Michael Burgess, building inspector. You have chosen a wonderful opportunity to serve your fellow citizens, and it's a great chance for you to provide growth for the quality of life within our community for the jobs that you'll be doing to make everything better for us as a city. We hope we have a long-lasting relationship. Public service is one of those things that really can be extremely rewarding. We ask that you be a public servant. You realize while your job calls for you sometimes to do things that you may not like that you have to do, you are serving the public. But always remember that the public is the people we are serving, and we owe them respect, dignity, and our best. So we encourage you to do that. I also want you to know that this is a great place to work. You have a very supportive council. The reason we are here is to introduce you to them and the general public as new hires, and also introduce them to you. Our job, our role as mayor and council is to provide you the tools with which to do your job. And we want to let you know that we will do that to the best of our ability. Ladies and gentlemen, council members, your new hires. City Y'all can go home now. I'm going to ask Carmen Hanlon, please come forward. She has some awards that she wants to hand out for our Clean City Sweep, and I'm going to turn it over to her.
Thank you. As most of y'all know, the Clean City Sweep is an annual program that's sponsored by the cities of North Charleston and the cities of Charleston. It's part of the Keep America Beautiful program and part of the Great American Cleanup. During the months of March and April, we have schools, neighborhoods, community groups who participate in beautification programs, recycling programs, education programs, and community activities. This year, we had 14,362 volunteers, and y'all are going to find out why I'm so excited about that in just a minute. We had 54 different groups who donated over 26,000 hours to cleaning and beautifying North Charleston. These volunteers picked up over 5,500 bags of litter and debris, replaced them with 2,000 flowers and trees. They taught 7,300 children and young adults about the importance of not littering and beautifying and taking care of their communities. One of the big significant things for us this year is we compared this to 2 years ago. And in 2009, we had 2,000 volunteers. This year, we have over 14,000. In 2009, we picked up 1,000 bags of litter. This year, we picked up over 5,000 bags of litter. In 2009, we planted 500 flowers and trees. This year, we planted over 2,000 flowers and trees. So as y'all can see, this program is really growing. There's been a lot of people who are responsible for this. It's been our community volunteers, it's been our Keep North Charleston Beautiful volunteers, and it's been program sponsors. We can't name them all because there's just so many people that are responsible for this. Tonight, we're going to be presenting our neighborhood and community group awards. We presented our school awards at the school district meeting on Monday night, but tonight we are going to be presenting our neighborhood and community group awards. And I'd like to ask Sarah Rawlings to come up and join me in the presentation. Sarah's been with us for the last 2 years, and a lot of our results have been her sitting down and working with the neighborhoods individually, helping them make their program stronger. So I really want her to be here with me tonight to be able to do this. And I'd like to thank her for all the hard work that she's done for us. If it wasn't for her, the 2-year result wouldn't have happened. That's how long we've had her here. Now on to the awards. When I call a group's name, I'd like y'all to come forward and act like we didn't practice or anything, and receive your award. And then remember to stay up here so we can take a group picture. Nancy, one of our volunteers, is going to be taking your picture as you get your award, because I know y'all all want a copy. And then we'll take a group picture once you get your award. And I'm going to tell you just a tiny bit about each award as we give them out. Our first award is for the best before and after photographs. One of the best ways, the program has grown to such a capacity now. Originally when we started, we would go and visit every single site so that we could see what they did. And many of y'all who are participating can remember that from the olden days. But now it's grown so much that we have to use a photograph contest to be able to tell the dramatic difference in the before and the after. These photos are used on the next year's brochures, so over 2,000 people will be seeing your photograph this year. And the winner of this award is going to receive a $100 sustainability check, which goes, our goal with Clean City Sweep is sustainability. Plant plants that are going to be here next year, make sure you plant the right plants, that type of thing. Have a maintenance program for litter when you do it. And so what we're doing is giving these groups $100, so if they need to get pine straw, if they need to do anything during the year to help with that program, they can do that. And the other thing that we're going to be doing to this first group before and after is we had a 4-cycle backpack blower donated by Troy built, and they will be receiving that after the award ceremony. This year's winner is Pepper Hill Civic Club. Our next award is going to be our Sweep Shots Award. This award is for, one of the things that we really have to do is we've been very fortunate this year to get a large supply of donations. We got water this year, which was the first for us from Keep America Beautiful. We got trash bags and gloves. So as part of Keep America Beautiful getting sponsor support, we need to send them pictures of what our groups are doing and them using the products we're giving them. So we started 2 new awards this year, and one is a group photograph for the volunteers at work. This is volunteers using the product. And we had so many, we had to just make it a random drawing because there wasn't, this group looks better than this group. So it was a random drawing. And the group who won this one was Forest Hills 1 for the group photograph drawing. The next one we had were volunteers at work, and this was a group photo with their Great American Cleanup banner, and this is Marshside at River Oaks. I'm not sure if they're here tonight. Here's and this was very interesting because they became a neighborhood at the last minute. Ellen helped us with getting them, or Marsha helped us with getting them signed in and getting all the stuff done. So they're our new neighborhood that won one of our Clean City Sweep awards. The last award is really very dear to me. We have an award now called the Georgia Smith Award, and you'll remember Georgia. This award is for Georgia. In 1998, we went down to the city of Charleston, and of course I dragged the mayor along with me, and I wanted to see exactly how they ran their Glad Bag-a-thon. And so we met with Georgia Smith at the city of Charleston and talked to her. By the time I got out of her office, she had decided we were going to be partners in this program. It was going to be the city of North Charleston and the city of Charleston, and this is what we were going to do. So this is what we did. Over the years, Georgia's worked with the city of Charleston. She did neighborhood services, and she moved to Arizona after a period of time. Well, earlier this year, she unexpectedly passed away, and it was a big loss to us because she was a big support for us. And so what we did was we decided we wanted to have an award that honored her, and we wanted to give it out to neighborhood groups that participated in Clean City Sweep. So what we did was we created an award that went to a neighborhood group that, because Georgia was such a team player and such a person who pulled everybody together and made things happen that you just didn't think were going to be possible, we wanted to give this award to a neighborhood group who had the most innovative efforts in securing resources and partnerships during their Clean City Sweep event. And the group who wins this is again getting a $100 sustainability check and a 4-string trimmer donated by Troy Built, and I found out they really need that. So this year's winner of the Georgia Smith Award is Riverbend Area Council. Again, our results this year have just been amazing. It couldn't have been done without the volunteers in the community and all the support. I'd like to thank everybody for doing that and just let y'all know that we're here all year and we're here when you need us, and thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Now I'm going to ask Juanetta Millette to please come forward to help me with some handout for special recognition for the Lamsey Group. This is the mitigation agreement committee members that work to come to the mitigation plan for Lamsey, and we wanted to honor them. This week we actually met at Liberty Hill, and Lamsey is moving forward with its first new community where they will do infill housing in one of the Lamsey communities. And the first one will be in Liberty Hill. It's a great plan. I hope that each person here gets a chance to look at it and see what they're doing.
At this time, I'd like the members of Lamsey, as well as the Mitigation Agreement Commission, to please step forward.
While she's handing them out,
Yeah.
I'm going to read the proclamation.
Well, I'm sorry, can I ask the members of council who are also on the Mitigation Agreement Commission to please stand?
Whereas in October 2005, the Low Country Alliance for Model Communities was established to represent the 7 neighborhoods of Acre Beach Court, Cherokee, 5 Mile, Howard Heights, Liberty Hill, Union Heights, and Windsor Place in the city of North Charleston. And whereas the South Carolina State Forest Authority desires to be a good corporate neighbor and work with the city to improve the quality of life for all citizens. And whereas in November 2005, the City of North Charleston, South Carolina State Forest Authority and the Low Country Alliance for Model Communities met and agreed to cooperatively identify, categorize, and prioritize negative environmental impacts resulting from the new port terminal construction and future operations, and develop a list of mitigation priorities to maximize community benefits. And whereas on May the 11th, 2006, the City of North Charleston, South Carolina State Forest Authority and the Low Country Alliance for Model Citizens Community entered into a formal memorandum of understanding and signed a $4.08 million community mitigation plan agreement. And whereas the City of North Charleston established the Mitigation Agreement Commission and working group to implement the community mitigation plan and ensure program milestones are met and project success is achieved. And whereas since its inception, the Mitigation Agreement Commission and Working Group undoubtedly has made a considerable impact in actively advancing the quality of life for residents and beginning community leaders and stakeholders together, and bringing community leaders and stakeholders together. Now therefore be it resolved that I, R. Keith Sunny, Mayor of the City of North Charleston, do hereby recognize and commend, and each of their names will be filled into their presentation. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for all that you have done to make your community a better place. And we'll make the presentation.
Okay, we got some remarks too. To Mayor Summy, members of council, I want to thank you for acknowledging the Mitigation Agreement Commission, as well as the members of the working group, especially Lamsey, for their hard work over the last 5 years, and of course your continued support. Had I known 5 years ago what I was getting myself into, I probably would have not accepted the task. But again, it was fraught with challenges as well as great accomplishments. Last year, a year ago, we received the 2009 Environmental Justice Achievements Award from EPA, which is the highest environmental justice award that an organization can earn. So with that, I think this group should be commended. This week, we are celebrating our 5-year anniversary. Today, we are recognizing the members who have put in volunteer labor over the last 5 years. And also today, we began a 2-day workshop of our Leaders Environmental Justice Pilot Program Partnership. Some of those members are here tonight, and I'd like them to stand and be acknowledged at this time. Karen Sprayberry and Keith Boyd from South Carolina Columbia headquarters. And last but not least, I want to acknowledge my family, David and Genesis. Without their support, I couldn't do what I do. So. And I'd like Raheem and also Byron Miller to please also give remarks.
You caught me off guard on this. I'd just like to thank everyone for these last 5 years of helping the Lampsey Group to become a viable entity in the communities that we serve, and that, you know, we are trying to do even greater things than what we've accomplished, and we know that's going to be hard work. But with the help of the city, we really appreciate all of the hard work that you all have helped us to achieve this honor, and it has been an honor to be able to serve our community. So thank you all very much for your support.
Thank you, Mayor Summey, members of council. My name is Byron Miller with the Ports Authority. It's really been our honor to participate throughout these last 5 years. I remember pretty clearly, a little more than 5 years ago, we were challenged by our future neighbors at the new terminal at the Navy base, by each of you as council members, and also certainly by the mayor, to try to minimize the negative impacts and maximize the positive benefits that come along with expanding a resource like our port. We're not all the way there yet, but we're on the course, and with your support, I know we'll reach the end that we're all seeking. So thank you again for your support and this honor.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. You go hand them out? Yeah. You a good girl. Thank you, darling. Thank y'all very much. Okay. Our last presentation tonight is, I looked down the audience and it almost scared me a little bit. We had 3,000 Barfields here, and one of them had a gun. But he's a cop, so it's okay. But I had a good friend named Joe Barfield, and Joe was the father to Ed Barfield, who runs our rec department, and Butch, who works in our police department, and that other bad son he's got that's sitting over there that actually was a reserve officer with us for a long time as well. And they've always been North Charleston oriented and North Charleston families. After Joe passed away, the family wanted to do something to honor him and honor the city as well, and what we do in the city with young people and youth. Joe was very engaged in youth programs in North Charleston back when it was Cooper River Parks and Playgrounds, even then through when it became a city. And so they set aside a scholarship fund to be given to a worthy recipient in the city of North Charleston for college. And so that it could not be any wavering of, who is picked, I was challenged with the opportunity to do the picking, so nobody can get mad at anybody but the mayor if they put in and didn't get it. And I'm going to ask Ed Barfield to come forward and make our presentation at this time. And I think that the choice that I made was a worthy choice for a young man that will honor our city very well.
Mayor, thank you, and members of council, thank you for the opportunity to be here. And I do want to recognize my sister. I'm kind of glad you left her out, because when Dad was here, and of course my Mom, can you join me please? Would you mind? We always knew who got whatever they wanted, and we just, all the 4 boys, my older brother Ricky is not here, but
the only reason I didn't recognize her is I didn't know she wanted to be recognized with you boys.
Well, we hide her she hides us most of the time. No, we had the great fortune as young boys and girls growing up on Dorchester Road Playground, and as the mayor said, if it wasn't for people like my dad and my mom, a lot of kids wouldn't have the opportunity to do what we have to do today as a municipality. Mr. Garrett McJunkin, who is here in the audience today, he was the spearhead of Parks and Recreation, and still is as far as I'm concerned. And I remember him and my father working very close together. And then Dad had to do a lot of things that we have the luxury today to get with council and taxpayers' dollars. Back then, they raised all the money. And many a time, Mom cooking French fries and hot dogs, and that's where our funds. And Kathy, I will talk about you being the queen. Back then, we had princess contests. It wasn't based on any looks or anything. It was based on how much money you raised. And as you know, Daddy was not going to let her get beat. So right before all the money was counted, I'm sure he dug in his pocket and put some green in there so she could win. But I didn't mean to say that. But I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I really thank Mayor Summey. Our family put on a golf tournament. We'll do this every year for the next 5 years to carry on our dad's legacy. One thing he's probably thinking about right now, looking down this night, is it's good. We're going to carry on what he wanted to do, and that is to help children. And we talked about a scholarship, and it was pretty unanimous that we do one each year, and there were some prerequisites that they had to play in the North Charleston program. And of course the family didn't want to get involved, and I am tickled to death with our recipient this year. It means a lot to me, because I actually think they're family to me as well. And Seth, could you come up, please? Seth is, it's funny, as I look in here, I see my gray hair, and I see I'm losing some. I didn't notice all the camera shots, but I remember Seth when he started playing t-ball, and he played in our program as a t-ball, and I watched him grow up. I watched his maturity. I watched how he's become a good young boy, and now a young man. Seth will go on to play at Newberry College. He's a great kicker. He's a great place kicker in football. And Newberry has given him a partial scholarship. This check will be made to Newberry. I was going to bring it to him tonight, but I'm afraid he'll try to go cash it. But it's just an honor that Seth won this. We had no idea. We didn't know what was going to happen. Of course, I think if we all pooled the family, we said, you know, Seth, you know, and it come, and it's just great to be able to, the first recipient, it means a lot. And congratulations. I've got a letter here. Got a letter from my mayor. And Mom, we also have a letter from you so that you can keep this so you'll know who got the first one. You're very welcome. And we also have a plaque for you. And good luck to you, and I can't wait to come watch you kick. Have you decided if you're going to play baseball?
Thinking about it.
Good, you're a fine baseball player. And he currently is playing for Northwoods Academy, and they won their first 2 games in the playoffs, and now you play who? State Series starts. They'll start Monday to advance to win the state, and he attends Northwoods Academy here in North Charleston, so thank you, and you've grown up quite a bit. I started to put a picture of you as a T-baller up there, but I didn't want to do that to you. All right? Congratulations, son. Thank you. You bet. Thank you.
There is one other comment that I'll have to make, son. I know they say you're a good place kicker, but if you want to really get some good lessons, you need to talk to his sister right after me, because I got a feeling she's going to be kicking something.
She probably will.
The mother want to get a picture of all of you.
Want me in that picture?
And I may help.
Thank you. We have one other recipient of a scholarship, and it's a great honor to be affiliated with Dixie Youth Baseball. I am a product of Dixie Youth Baseball. I started playing when I was 7 years old on Dorchester Road, and it's great to come through a program that you believe in, that you know has got the best interest of children. And it's not the best interest to become athletes. We're not, Dixie Youth Baseball nor North Charleston Recreation Department is concerned about if we put college athletes on the field. We want to make sure that our kids do the right things. We teach them those type things, and that's one thing about Dixie Youth Baseball. It's been the same way. We're fortunate this year that one of Seth's best friends, Ty Powell, who plays at Northwoods Academy as well and grew up as a T-baller. I found a picture of him too, so I didn't want to embarrass either one of them. But this year's recipient is Ty Powell from Northwoods Academy. Come on up, Ty. Let me tell you. When Mr. McJunkin called me, and when we get a recipient, I get a phone call. And it's also a warm feeling when I hear that one of our children are going to be advancing with scholarship through Dixie Baseball. This year alone, Dixie Youth Baseball will give over $72,000 scholarships. That's $14,000. Over the past, since they've been in existence, they've given $1.7 million in scholarships to young kids. And the only thing they have to do is be played in Dixie Youth Baseball and be a good citizen. And when I heard Ty, I know his family, and I see Charlie. Charlie's volunteering our program. Just a great guy, and I couldn't think of a better recipient for this. So congratulations. He too will go on to Newberry. We're going to have to get our Indian shirts out. Both of them will play. Ty got a partial baseball scholarship, so I hope the Dixie Youth Baseball Scholarship will help you with your furthering of it. Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, Mama, get the picture.
Yeah, good.
Oh.
Mr. Mack, could you please join us, please?
All right, Madam Clerk, please continue with the printed agenda.
Item 1 is a request to approve the minutes from the April 28th, 2011 City Council meeting.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Astle?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome?
Aye.
Mr. Jameson?
Aye.
Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Ms. Williams? Mr. Hart? Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Summy?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Second item is the first reading and a public hearing for the proposed rezoning of the properties identified as Hammerton Lodge 332 and formerly known as the Chicora Lodge number 366 AFM, located at 1814 Success Street, TMS 469-1200-271 and 288, from R1 Single Family Residential to OD Office District, along with a concurrent proposal to amend the Comprehensive Development Plan Future Land Use Map, changing the designation from single-family traditional to community commercial.
Mr. Gould?
Mayor Summy, members of City Council, first slide, please. As noted, this is a proposed change to the zoning map, amending the aforementioned property known as the Hammerton Lodge, number 332, from R1 Single Family Residential to OD Office District, and a commensurate or a related change to the future land use map, and the proper designation is actually Office District for the future land use designation. Okay. Next slide, please. This is an aerial photograph of the site, which is outlined in blue. You can see that there are actually two parcels that are proposed for rezoning. One of them primarily accommodates the former lodge building. The other has the surface parking for that building. They are located on North Carolina Avenue between Success and Leland in the Chicora neighborhood. If you look across North Carolina Avenue, you can see that there is a church and related parking there, that the site is in fact surrounded on three sides by streets, so that there is some greater degree of spatial separation from some of the neighboring single-family and multifamily properties. Next slide, please.
Yep.
Well, that would seem to be it. The applicant in this case is hopeful of rezoning the property to office district in an attempt to establish an office software business at that location. And the current future land use map designation of single-family traditional would not support that proposed change, and so they are proposing to make that accommodation. The existing development in the area and on the parcel in question is of a nature that would not accommodate single-family use. You've got the former lodge building there and the surface parking, neither one of which are suitable for single-family development. We believe that given the existing development on that parcel, the presence of a large institutional use adjacent to it and some greater degree of separation from the neighboring residential, that it is appropriate to consider an office development use in much the way that the council has looked at the use of office neighborhood in other parts of the city as a transitional use between office or commercial and residential. Given the nature of this site, we believe that that is a good fit. The staff is recommending in favor of the proposed change, and the Planning Commission is also recommending the change. In both
Questions of Mr. Gore?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gore, what's the primary difference between the OD and the ON?
The ON district, if you'll remember, had a very limited number of allowed uses. It would be uses such as engineers, architects, lawyers, doctors' offices, whereas the office district is a district that's built around that, but is broader in the number and types of office uses that could be accommodated at that location.
So this business here couldn't go in there?
Could not go in that district. Yeah, we looked at it as a preferable alternative, but it was just not a good fit.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Gore?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
No questions, but I would like to say a few things to council. This is an extremely exciting rezoning request for a number of reasons. Bill made reference to, in a generic sense, the applicant wishing to establish a software business at this location. He actually is moving his software business from downtown Charleston, and I know he'll come talk about it here in a minute because it's a very heartwarming story about his desire to assist us in revitalizing this part of the city. It is a former Masonic lodge, not suitable for many other uses, certainly, as Bill said, not for residential use. Council may recall, I think it's been within the last year, the owners, or another applicant at least, came forward with a request for a rezoning that would be inappropriate for the neighborhood. It was more of a general office or general commercial type use that could conceivably have brought a lot of traffic to the neighborhood and that sort of thing. But this is a perfect adaptive reuse of this structure, I think. It is not going to impact the neighborhood other than positively. It might even bring some jobs. There might even be some space in the building that could be used by some entrepreneurs in the neighborhood. So the neighborhood, Chicora Neighborhood Council has spoken about it. The applicant spoke to the neighborhood council about it, and I think the neighborhood shares the excitement of this possibility. And I hope Mr. Montgomery will come talk about his plans for us to better convey that excitement.
Any other questions by council? This is an advertised public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us your remarks. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue?
Hello, my name is Jeff Montgomery, and say my name and address, you said?
Yes, sir.
I live at 4 Gordon Street in Charleston, and I'm the owner of the software company Mr. Taylor mentioned. Thank you, council people, mayor, for having me. For the first half of the meeting, I saw the mayor hug everyone who came up, so I wondered if I was going to get a hug when I came up. About 8 years ago, I founded a software company in my garage, above my garage, in Miss Miller's district, and I quit my day job to go do it, and I thought maybe if I was really successful someday, I would, at the height of my expectations, I thought, well, maybe I could match my wife's salary and I wouldn't be a drag on the family anymore if I really made it. Well, now, incredibly, I have 11 employees for the company, and my wife's one of them. So we've had a lot of fun, and we've done some really neat stuff. All of our software that we develop is for nonprofits. As you might figure, we're related to a much bigger company in town that makes software for nonprofits, and it's been a neat way to do business. As Mr. Taylor mentioned, this is I know that the property was brought up before for rezoning for just a general sort of business, and I think this is different in a lot of ways, whereas it was unknown before what might go in there. We are a software company. We're very quiet. We don't have deliveries. Everything that we get delivered or gets delivered out goes through a very small internet pipe all day long. we don't have any. We have one South Carolina client that is American Red Cross. Everyone else is throughout the United States and Canada and Australia. And nobody comes and visits us. We don't have a lot of traffic. So it's a pretty quiet company. We got a lot of programmers in there, and we like it pretty quiet. So we don't make a lot of noise, and I think we would be pretty easy on the neighborhood as far as resources are concerned. I've always been a big fan of North Charleston. Just knowing Miss Miller for so many years, and her zeal for the city, and I felt the same way. And I've always been a big fan of what's going on at the Navy base, and I think there's huge potential there still. I know it's got a lot of challenges in front of it right now, but I really believe in the area, and I think it can come around, and I'd like to be a part of that. I'd like to be a positive corporate citizen in that area, and have a positive effect on the area. So essentially, that's where we are. I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Would you like to introduce your wife?
We couldn't get a babysitter. This is so my wife is at home. This is actually Deepa Patel, who's our real estate agent, and she's the best real estate agent I've ever worked with, and she's just wonderful.
What I was getting to is that I know you said that your wife now works for you, and it makes me recall a word of wisdom that my wife constantly uses, and that behind every successful man is an exhausted woman.
I think she would agree with that.
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome back to North Charleston Jail.
Thank you.
Y'all all know my friend Rose, just about everyone. She works for him too.
Well, great. Wonderful.
You know Rose? Oh,
sure.
I didn't know she was a celebrity in North Charleston. She's been with us for years. She's wonderful.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Just to bring council up on a couple things that did happen today, I was able to go over to the Navy base to welcome a new company that's come into the technology center there, and with 30 new employees, all in high-tech stuff, and it was great. They're actually founded out of New Orleans and is moving a location here. So, just another sign of things that are going on the Navy base that are very important. And the other thing today, and I want to give our building and fire inspection people a lot of credit for being so hard working to make things work. With the Boeing deal today, I was able to hand deliver to the head of operations for Boeing their temporary CO, and which lets them start doing some things, actually moving things inside the building. And so it was quite, didn't have any media, anybody there, but it was quite an exciting honor to be able to know that we've moved a step closer into seeing actual operations within that building, and I wanted to share that with the council members. Okay, without objection, this will be referred to the Public Safety Committee. Item 3. Mr. Gore, go ahead. Mr. Gore, let's just go, Mr. Gore. We can read. Go ahead.
Okay. Can
You don't want me to read all that?
No.
Go on and advance it to the first
map.
slide in the presentation for me,
Bill, let me
please.
apologize that I did not include your usual PowerPoint.
You noticed that look on my face.
Yes, the panic-stricken one, yeah, I caught that right away. I apologize.
No,
That was
that's
my
quite
fault.
all right. What you're going to get here momentarily is a presentation on a group of properties for which there are some proposed changes to the comprehensive development plan. They're all in the Upper Dorchester corridor. They're the result of the recent update to the comprehensive development plan in 2008 and some subsequent work with the neighborhood associations as represented up in that district, and also with Councilman Astle. But the first one in that group would be at 8700 Dorchester Road. It's TMS number 17100, parcel 53. This is a Whitfield property that is generally south of the quadruplexes there at the Village at Charleston Park. It's also just northwest of the Coosaw Commons development, and it's adjacent to, or nearly adjacent to, some of the property in Phase 4 of the farm at Westcott, with the result that it's surrounded practically on three sides by multifamily residential. And the proposal that you have before you this evening is to change the zoning to multifamily. There is a related proposal to change the zoning, the comprehensive development plan, future land use map designation from neighborhood business to multifamily residential. And I'll go on and give you the next series of proposed changes. Next slide, please. This is 4 parcels, 3 of which are owned by the city. I think the 4th parcel that's down along Dorchester Road near that blue shaded parcel, which is our fire station on Dorchester Road, may belong to Mr. Gamble. But I believe this is a site we're looking at for the recreation complex and ball fields. And it's presently zoned for R1 single-family residential, and the proposal in front of you this evening is simply to change the future land use map designation to agree with the existing zoning. Doesn't have any impact on any future plans for the property. And you can see from this slide that it's presently undeveloped land. Next slide, please. This proposal relates to the garden and cluster development in the Olavanti tract developed, this portion of it developed by KB Homes in back of what we call the village at Charleston Park. And as you'll remember, this has single-family detached units on it. We call it garden and cluster because it can occur at a density of up to 10 units to the acre. And that may be the only distinguishing factor between it and a normal single-family residential development, which could occur at 7 units to the acre, but rarely gets better than 4. So although the average person couldn't tell the difference between garden and cluster and single-family, we've got R2 type development on the ground. There is R2 zoning on the parcel, and the proposal here is simply to adjust the future land use designation for this property to R2 to support multifamily. The next group of properties is adjacent, it's off of Ashley Phosphate Road, sort of to the west of the multifamily there at Pepper Hill subdivision, and next to the creek as it comes up to Ashley Phosphate Road. I think at one time it was depicted in the future land use map as multifamily because of the multifamily development on both sides of it. However, the property owner came to the Planning Commission and the Council with a planned development district proposal for an industrial business park at that location. The Planning Commission and Council found that proposal to be suitable and put planned development district zoning on the property. And so now we're coming back to adjust the future land use map to support that. And the proposal is to take the future land use map to industrial. We've got 2 parcels in this particular slide that are proposed for changes in the comprehensive development plan future land use map. One of them is at 8080 Dorchester Road, and it's got a strip commercial development with its primary access from Dorchester Road, but it also has driveway access onto the interior road system for Coosaw Creek Industrial Park. And so really the parcel has the potential to be used in either way because of that access on the interior street system. The other parcel is directly across from the Bosch plant at the intersection of Dorchester Road and Patriot Boulevard. And we believe that that property, which is presently vacant and undeveloped, is better zoned for industrial. Next slide, please. This parcel is one that you'll probably remember was part of that shopping center there at Park Forest in Dorchester, where you've got the Publix development, where the developers were moving forward with a multifamily apartment complex under B2 zoning. The ordinance changed in the Upper Dorchester corridor so that B2 would no longer allow for multifamily, and the project was momentarily stalled until they came back to the council, asked for R2 zoning, which the council agreed to give. And so that property was rezoned, the apartments have been built, and we're just coming back to change the comprehensive development plan to support those earlier actions and facts on the ground. Next slide, please. We've got 2 large parcels that are shown outlined in the light blue. They're actually shown a fairly dark color there that around the edge of the Coosaw Creek development as it pokes over into Charleston County. It's also adjacent to the tip of the Windsor Hill subdivision and a portion of the McCune Plantation. Basically, these are two large parcels that had been mines, and then they were converted to landfills as a second part of that land transformation process. Recent years, they've accommodated some grazing cattle, which I think are visible from parts of Coosaw Creek. They are presently zoned for single family. There are no known plans to do anything else with them other than what is being done now. And the proposal here is to change the future land use map designation to support single family. Next slide, please. That's basically a conclusion.
Any questions of Bill by council?
I just want to make a comment, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I want to say, Bill, thank you, and Dick Kaufmueller and Jim Tootin and Warren McCarl for all their hard work on getting this straightened out and done. Just, again, thank you, guys.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I have.
Yes, sir.
These two parcels on Dorchester Road, 53, isn't that owned by the city?
Yes.
All right, if it's owned by the city, why are we making it R2?
53, the one up there, is that Mr. Whitfield's property?
And that may be
Behind the Goodwill.
I don't know, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's the
not ours?
Yeah, that's not
No.
ours. Is the ones up by the fire station.
That's behind the
I was going to say,
Goodwill.
I thought we was going to try and get a park out of ours.
Yeah, ours is up by the fire station. That's the part.
Okay.
Any other questions by council? This is an advertised public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us your remarks. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue? Hearing none without objection, it's referred to the Public Safety Committee. Item number 4.
Maps, Bill?
Yes. The next item that you have before you is a group of parcels for which rezonings are being proposed in connection with the update to the Comprehensive Development Plan, and these are also in the Upper Dorchester corridor and the result of that same collaborative effort that we were just discussing. The first group are in the same vicinity that we were just discussing, parcel in front of parcel 53, and this consists of 8710, 8720, and 8730 Dorchester Road. That's the Goodwill, the Medicare Express, and a vacant parcel adjacent to it. If you'll recall, all of these parcels came into the city as a single parcel with the Goodwill site, which had been built under Dorchester County regulations, and that when you all initiated the Upper Dorchester corridor process, the entire corridor had been downzoned to R1 for the duration of the study, and then the Council Planning Commission endeavored to try and rezone the entire corridor in keeping with the recommendations of the plan. This property was annexed in at a time when our policy was to give the property the zoning that was most comparable to what it had in the county, and in that case it was not consistent with the scheme of the plan. During our last update to the Comprehensive Development Plan, there was a recommendation to go on and return it to a zoning or land use, future land use that was more consistent with the original recommendation of the plan. The Goodwill would become legal non-conforming. The Medicare Express would be allowed under the B1 zoning. Next slide, please. Next slide. The next item that we have is somewhat similar to the one we heard before, in that you've got 3 multifamily developments that are on the ground. They're very new development. Each one of them was built under B2 zoning, and all of them have become legal non-conforming use in spite of the fact that they're very, very new, primarily as a result of our change in regulations that does not any longer allow multifamily development in B2 zoning districts. The idea behind this proposed change is to go on and give the properties zoning that is consistent with the Comprehensive Development Plan recommendation for these properties and for the facts on the ground, the new apartment developments that are there. Next slide, please. This particular slide depicts a proposal to rezone 2 parcels that are near the intersection of Dorchester Road and Club Course. This is the Hess gas station and the parcel behind it. For whatever reason, they were never rezoned from the original zoning that the council did at the onset of the Upper Dorchester corridor. I believe that there was probably some interest, which is stated in the plan, to try and get these parcels to coordinate their access, but there was never any development proposal that gave us the opportunity to apply that leverage. And so the proposal at this time is to go on and move them to B1 zoning. Next slide, please. This collection of parcels that's proposed for R2 multifamily residential zoning is for existing townhouse development along Hunter's Ridge. The comprehensive development plan calls for multifamily development along Hunter's Ridge, and it's in most of the other development that has come into the city has been brought in as multifamily, and so we are recommending the change for these parcels to multifamily as well. Next slide, please. The 4 parcels depicted around the periphery of Festival Center are out parcels. One at the intersection of Ashley Phosphate and Dorchester Road has the CVS. It's next to the Parks Strip Center there with the several suites of retail and commercial development. On the opposite corner at Ashley Phosphate, up at Patriot, I think you've got an auto zone, and next to that I think we've got a vacant parcel. But the proposal here is to give these similar treatment as the other out parcels in the center and return them to B2 zoning. And that, I believe, may conclude the proposed changes to the zoning map. And again, these are the result of collaborative efforts with the community and the Planning Commission in implementing or attempting to implement the recommendations of the Comprehensive Development Plan.
Any questions of Mr. Gore by council?
Thank you.
This is also an advertised public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us your remarks. Anyone wishing to speak on this issue? Hearing none, without objection, it's referred to the Public Safety Committee. Item 5. That's because they work together.
Item 5, sir, is the first reading of an ordinance amending Section 4-20 of the zoning regulations of the City of North Charleston to revise the portable temporary storage unit usage.
Mr. Gore.
Mayor Summey, members of council, after meeting with some representatives of the the portable storage industry, and meeting also with Councilwoman Rhonda Jerome, we considered a change to the ordinance that would allow the installation of 2 storage units on a single lot, whereas the current ordinance would limit it to 1, and that in exchange for that concession, the amount of time that they would have to accomplish whatever they were going to accomplish with the units would be cut in half. So whereas right now you have a month if you're a residential user maximum to accomplish your storage needs with a portable temporary storage unit, if you apply to have 2 installed, this ordinance would allow you to do that, but you would be able to do it only for 2 weeks time. And there is a similar provision for the commercial storage.
Any questions of Mr. Gore by council?
Just curiosity, and maybe Ms. Jerome can help. If someone needs 2 units because of the items they have in their house, they're getting all the floors refinished at the same time, recovering after a flood or a fire, they might need 2 units, and they might still need the month to get the work done. So help me understand the philosophy behind it.
Well, I think, and you can correct me if I've missed a point, but what I heard from the industry was that our ordinance was impacting a big segment of their business that had to do with move-ins, and that it was sort of a one-time event where most of the moving could occur with the units within a 2-week time frame, and they thought that this adjustment would take care of that particular problem. The ordinance contains within it a provision for special or unusual circumstances, and we would consider fire to be one where the resident is substantially thrown into a situation beyond their control. They don't have any ability to accomplish their needs within the normal time frame.
I got it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Taylor, just to go a little bit further, when these gentlemen called to speak with us, a lot of their moves are from out of state due to all the new jobs coming into the area. And the people actually were requesting so they could get unloaded and set up quicker rather than having to wait for this one to be picked up and another one to be brought out. And they were very pleased with the 2-week time period.
All right. We have a motion?
Move for approval.
Motion and a
Second.
second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Estill?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome?
Aye.
Mr. Jameson?
Aye.
Ms. Miller? Mr. Ayer? Ms. Williams? Mr. Hart? Mr. King? Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Summy?
Let's move to a second reading, but it will go to public safety.
Is there somebody vote?
Aye.
He did.
Keep me straight, baby. All right.
Item 6 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a law enforcement mutual aid agreement with the city of Myrtle Beach.
Move for approval.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Bike week. All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Move forward to the,
Item number 7 is a request to approve the appointment of Mr. Jarvin C. Mack to the Recreation Board as requested by Council Member Michael Brown.
Move to approval.
Second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? Is Mr. Mack with us? Mr. Mack, welcome. Okay. All in favor, aye.
For doing that so fast.
Aye. All in favor, aye. Any nays? All have it. Item 8.
Let me read it. Item 8 is a request to approve the appointment of Mr. Blair C. Jennings as an additional part-time municipal court judge for a 2-year term.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Well, this is improve rules, but improve the courts.
If you remember when Judge Rebelese retired and we appointed our new chief judge, we told him to review the needs of the court and then come back to us with a recommendation. And this was his recommendation to go to another part-time position.
Oh, while we're talking about this, I know at our budget meeting, we had a discussion on problems over there. Has that cleared up as far as answering the phone and things like that?
Yes, ma'am. It was brought to their attention and
Okay.
taken care of. All right. Clerk, please call the roll.
I'm sorry, could I ask for the motion and second again? I missed
The
it.
motion was Mr. Hart, the second was Mr. Taylor.
Thank you. Mr. Estill?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome?
Aye.
Mr. Jameson?
Aye.
Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Hart?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Summy?
Aye. Mr. Jennings, welcome aboard, sir. You'll be sworn in at a later date. Glad to have you on board. Mr. Jennings has a lot of experience. He served 10 years with the solicitor's office, so he's very used to trial situations and court proceedings, and I'm sure you do us a great job. All right, we have one request to speak. What did I do with it? Here it is. Okay, Mr. Stanley Mack from 5871 Kirkwood. Mr. Mack, please come forward, state your name and address for the record, and give us your remarks. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. My name is Stanley Mack. I live at 5871 Kirkwood Avenue, the Oak Grove Community Center. Council, trying to support them real good. Mr. Price, he's been sick, pretty much sick, and Mr. Hart, Councilman, has been working with us very good. My concern basically today was I made a request through SAG and of course with the council. The electrical wires in the community, a lot of the streets, the trees are overgrown and the wires are pulling them down. One of the trees actually got killed out there, and they tore that down. And my concern is safety hazard for the kids being around there, and something happening in bad weather. But they're pulling down the wires pretty much in a few of the streets. And that was one of my safety concerns for that community. The other concern, we're soon going to be making a vote on a new councilman in the community, trying to bring it back alive a little bit. So we're going to put a request in to have a vote, to have a voting in June for a new council, group, organization, a few younger people in there coming in to help the community, supporting the senior citizens and the kids. We're trying to get upgraded computers in the center for the kids this summer coming. We was trying to work on that this past 2010 late summer. Mr. Hart was working with that. We're trying to get that pushed forward as quickly as we can. I'm afraid that can happen. Also, I noticed that they were doing street repairs. One of the streets was repaved, Spruce Avenue. My concern also is a lot of traffic. Of course, unfortunately, with Rivers and Rivermont Road, we have that Bramble Street. It'd be nice to get that kind of squared away because it's kind of a little safety hazard for kids and people. A lot of bicycle, a lot of walking, and the streets are narrow, and it's a lot of cracked pavement in that area. That's one of the main concerns. But of course, we would like to have upgrading in all the streets if possible, along with new sidewalks. We did get one. I would like to see that keep going. That would be nice. Upgrading community and making the safety for the kids and senior citizens, also a deterrent for people that shouldn't even be in the community. Basically what I'm trying to do.
What we'll do is we will get in touch with South Carolina Electric and Gas and try to give them a little electric shock.
Yeah.
To get in there and tell them they need to clean up their lines.
Yeah. They did say they would take 6 to 7 months.
Okay.
It's been 8 months.
Okay, well, we'll give them. We'll get on their ear. And as far as the streets, we will check and see when your other streets are scheduled for repavement.
Yes, sir.
That's actually handled through the county.
Excellent.
And it's based upon need, and so we'll look at all your streets and see if we can give you a timeline on when they're scheduled in their process.
To the state, DOT?
State and county.
Oh, right.
Okay, great. And Mr. Hart, hopefully you'll be there this meeting here on the 21st, 10 o'clock.
And we'll also check and see what computers we're replacing in City Hall this year.
Oh, yes.
And if we have some that we're moving out, we'd be glad to see if we can get some over to the community center.
I appreciate it.
Glad to do it.
That's it.
Thank you for getting engaged in your community.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I've talked with Mr. Barfield, and he's supposed to be looking to see if we have any extra computers that, we can assign to the Saffron Mutri Community Center.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I need an executive session to discuss 2 legal matters. Could I get a motion? Okay. All right. Have a second?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Astle?
Aye.
Ms. Jerome? Mr. Jameson? Ms. Miller? Mr. Ayer? Ms. Williams? Mr. Hart? Mr. King? Mr. Taylor?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mayor Summy?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Mayor, do you need Comcast or whatever?
I don't think we will take any action out of the executive session. So, we're gonna go ahead.